Alright then, should we do this thing? So I guess, who am I and why am I doing this? I'm Ash, I'm 26, I live in London, and I've always believed that life is meant to be big, kind of wild and a little bit extraordinary. I hate the fact that sometimes the rhetoric teaches us that we can't do the things or that we have limits. And I've discovered throughout my life that the less I place limits on myself, having been someone that imposed a lot of limits when I was younger, the more the world has opened up to me, the more I start saying yes and accepting that I can do these incredible things. I want to dedicate this space to demonstrating that to you guys and showing you that when you do believe in yourself and put yourself out there, you can do incredible things that you perhaps never imagined you could do. I was the shyest child out there. I couldn't even speak for myself. My mum would have to speak for me. But I became incredibly inspired by Jessica Ennis at London 2012 when I was about 11 years old, and I fell in love with the world of athletics and heptathlon. And despite being too scared to go to my first athletics session and chickening out and standing there in my pyjamas crying, I went on to compete all over Europe in the heptathlon. I competed against some of the best athletes in the world. I went to Loughborough Uni and trained with an incredible group of people. And throughout that time, I discovered so much about myself and developed so much mental resilience. At the same time, my very much all or nothing mindset has taken me to some incredible lows throughout my life too. I struggled terribly with an eating disorder and with self-harm throughout my teenage years. And I remember how incredibly lonely that place was and how low I felt and like I couldn't tell anyone. And I'd never really talked about it up until this point. Throughout my teenage years, I trained at Brunel Uni while being at school, which meant that I missed a lot of lessons because I was training and I had to fit in my A-levels and studying kind of in the evenings and around all of that. I studied history, English and graphic art, and I've always been a writer. If it hadn't have been for athletics, I probably would have studied history and international relations at King's, but as it happened, I went where the best coach in the country was. I went to Loughborough, and I studied psychology, which I don't want to be a psychologist, but I find the human brain absolutely fascinating, and my degree was incredible. I really, really enjoyed it. When I got to the other side of uni and I realised through a culmination of things, the fact that mentally I had no belief in myself for athletics, even though deep down I felt like I could do it, there was a lot of mental blockers. I got really nervous. So I was kind of struggling with athletics. I also was a bit injured. It wasn't really working out with my coach and my parents were splitting up. And all of this kind of came to a head at the end of uni, and I ended up parting ways with athletics at that point. And I really wanted to pursue a career in journalism. At that point, I had been working as social media manager for the Wonder Diamond League, which is like the biggest athletic circuit, kind of like F1 on the global stage. So I'd done social media management for them. I'd written for a small publication called Athletics Weekly, but I wasn't really sure how to get into the world of journalism. I also loved design, I loved social media. And as a result, I kind of found PR, and it felt like it had a bit of everything, and I ended up getting a job at an agency which specialised in sustainability. So I moved to London and I worked there for 9 months. During that time, I think I became really lost. I had given up the thing that was my sole purpose in life of going to the Olympics, and all of a sudden that wasn't there for me anymore. And I just didn't know who I was, and so I started drinking. And I was drinking because I was upset about my parents' breakup. My relationship with my mum had broken down, and I think I was just completely trying to escape into alcohol and into food restriction, and my eating disorder got really bad again. And it was just a whole catalogue of errors, to be quite honest with you. But I learned so much from it. And I then discovered that the agency I was at wasn't really what I wanted to be at. And I discovered this incredible agency that spoke to all my values. It was about, PR but better. It was really delivering for amazing brands, telling stories. And I was like, I have to work there. So I emailed the founder, even though they weren't hiring. And I basically said, this is my proposal to hustle. I will work so hard for you. All I want is to work for you, and I know I can do it, and I know that I will deliver incredible things. And she met my energy wholeheartedly, and I got a job there, even though they weren't hiring, which was epic. She basically made a seat at the table for me, and I've worked there for the last 2 years. In that time, I've also become a freelance journalist, and I've written for Stylist, Glamour, Marie Claire and Cosmo. And those are things that perhaps on paper you would have said probably don't work a full-time job and pursue a career as a freelance writer. But I think building a network and having incredible, inspiring editors who gave me a shot and said, yeah, you haven't written before, but your energy and your attitude and your pictures are there. And so I got my opportunities, and they've just grown and grown and grown. And I love it so much. Writing fills me with so much joy. I've also been able to travel. I went to Australia earlier this year, and I want to do more of that. So that's kind of a career rundown to date, and it brings you to pretty much now. I have so many dreams still to live out. I've recently founded a run club with one of my best friends, Georgia, called Sunny Runners. It's the most amazing community. And what I guess I'm focused on for the next few years is discovering more about who I am, writing more, building more of a community with Sunnies, and showing people the power of running. Not just so that you can post a video of you running a marathon on social media, but so that you can discover the true joy of running. Because I lost it for a while because it became so much about performance and time. And I've returned to it through Sunnies and through Georgia. And I want to show people that actually running can be so much about just how good it makes your body feel. Not how you look, but how you feel. And I think that's something that is like thrown around as words quite a lot, but are people really feeling it? I don't know. So with Sunnies, I want to build that community. I want to see more of the world, and I want to date. I want to find a relationship, because that has been the thing that in my one-track mindedness, in my work ethic, I feel like I've kind of neglected. And it's an area of my life that I do want to expand on. It's an area of my life that I've been very nervous about, I've been very closed off from. And I think there's a lot of scope to kind of grow there. So that's what this year's going to look like. I'm going to take you along for the ride with me because I just kind of want to, and I think it's going to be an amazing document to look back on. And I just want to see what could happen. And I want to help as many of you follow your dreams as you can. So I guess this YouTube channel is for the dreamers. It's for the people that want to feel deeply and think broadly. It's for the people that don't want to live small. It's for those of you who want to squeeze every inch out of life, because I think the joy of life is in the dreaming. Okay, that's enough.